You break up with your boyfriend, and then almost immediately you start living with his parents.
I kind of just packed up all my stuff and called his mom. I was like, I'm done. Will you pick me up? And she was like, I already got my shoes on.
Hello?
Hello, Geck.
Hey, is this Shelby?
Yes, it is.
How is life going?
Going actually really well. A lot of things have been going up for me.
You said things are going up for you. That's good.
Yeah, definitely.
What's been going up? What's happening that is so well?
I've just felt a lot more relieved lately. I just feel happier. You know what I mean?
Okay, can you peg that to anything, or it's just sort of an ethereal feeling?
I don't know. Like, my family life is good. Like, my life with my family and, like, my boyfriend and things like that.
Okay.
Just feels good. And a lot
well,
of
listen.
place than before.
Oh, you're in a better place than before, you say?
Yeah.
Well, Shelby, it says you were legally adopted by your ex-boyfriend's parents. What's that story?
Yes, sir. So, I dated this guy for like 3 years, and when the time came, like, we broke up, and then I created like a really good relationship with his parents. So when we broke up, I really didn't have anywhere to go. So I asked his parents if I can move back in, and they were kind of already preparing for it. So I moved back in with them, and it's kind of just history from there. They take me in, as their own child and everything. I have an amazing relationship with them. It's a little bizarre, but I understand.
So, okay, tell me this. You were dating this guy. How long were you dating this guy for?
For almost 3 years.
All right, so you dated this guy for 3 years. And then you had nowhere else to go, so his parents legally adopted you when you guys broke up. How old were you when this happened?
I was 19, but we got together when I was 16, so I've known him for like a while. I'm 21 now.
How do you get legal? Can you get legally adopted by someone at the age of 19?
Yeah. I mean, you can sign like your papers over for them to be your legal guardians, if that makes sense. I kind of simplify it as to like being adopted, but they're my legal guardians.
Do you have a legal guardian when you're 19?
So my mom wasn't really around. Like, she left when I was about 8 years old, and then my dad passed away a little after I moved in with them. And then my biological side of my family is just a little weird, and I don't really speak with them that often, and I don't really trust them. So I had, my ex-boyfriend's parents take over, the parental responsibilities.
Right. Well, no, I was just talking about how if you're 19, I don't know if you need a legal guardian, but like the legalities of that.
Yeah, you don't, but it's like, if anything were to happen to me, I wouldn't want my biological family to be the ones to make that choice. If anything were to happen to me, like if you got to pull the plug or some shit like that.
Okay, that makes sense. Honestly, it's not really that important. So tell me this.
It makes me feel safer and made me feel better.
So tell me this. So, okay, so you were living with them when you were 19. So tell me this. What is your relationship like with the ex-boyfriend? How does he fit into all this?
None of us talk to him, actually. About a year and a half of us dating, he really fucked up. Like his relationship with his parents, he really just blew it. So his parents just didn't really want anything to do with him. Like, they obviously love him, but there were just things that he was doing where they kind of just had to turn away and just be like, all right, you do you, and then whenever you're ready, you can come back. But he hasn't contacted them in a long time. So all of us kind of just keep moving forward, I guess. But I have to wait towards him, really.
Well, let's get into this. What the timeline here? You break up with your boyfriend, and then almost immediately, it sounds, you start living with his parents.
Yeah, we broke up Valentine's Day night of 2020. So I kind of just packed up all my stuff and called his mom. I was like, I'm done. Will you pick me up? And she was like, I already got my shoes on, you know?
Okay, the night that you guys broke up, what was the relationship like between your ex-boyfriend and his parents?
Oh, they didn't speak to him at all. They were really disappointed. They kind of saw it coming by just everything that he was doing to me and to them. And that kind of way, they just didn't really have. I can't put words in their mouth. But
tell me, what is it that the boyfriend did to make his parents discontinue their relationship with him?
Oh, just not keeping up with responsibilities of just being an adult. Like, I lived with him, like I had an apartment with him and everything, and it's not like things were going good or anything. We always really had problems. But I was in high school, I was a sophomore in high school, and I had 3 jobs. I was paying most of the rent. I paid for just about everything, and he could barely hold his weight. With his parents' side, his parents kind of always tried to implement that work ethic into him.
Well, Shelby, we're talking about him. Where I'm talking about what things did he do to make them? I mean, to disown your son like that. I mean, that's a really big deal. I'm looking for what is the besides him just not having a job at 16, what is the thing?
He was just absolutely narcissistic. He thought it was his way or nothing. He was very abusive with his words and making people feel guilty, and he would always try to make people feel bad for him in that sort of way. I don't really know how to explain that without being too intrusive and oversharing, if that makes sense.
Sure. I mean, yeah, this is your story and your life. It's just, to me, an interesting thing that they're trading the son for, his ex-girlfriend. And I'm trying to get to the bottom as to why and what's going on with him, and if he's still in the picture and why he's not in the picture and all of that.
Well, he's not really in the picture because he doesn't reach out. I would say if he reached out and just showed that he was doing better, last time I heard, he was living in his car, and, we always argued about bills and things like that because he was always borrowing money from people and just taking so much from other people to where they didn't even want to talk to him anymore because of how much he was taking and not giving. Or he would always lie about things and go behind, people's back that were trying to help him. Everyone gave him so much help, and he just kind of just screwed it all up, I would say.
Okay. Well, listen, I'm glad to hear that things are going better with you. I hope that this guy feels like he's in a position where he can come back to his parents, if he wants to.
Yeah. Yeah, if he wants to, of course. It wouldn't really affect anything in my life, if that makes sense. It did make dating a little bit hard for me, trying to explain that when I wanted to have a relationship with somebody. I felt like it was a little intimidating.
Yeah, definitely. Um, yeah, I mean, it's a strange situation. I'm not gonna pretend like I have all the details on this, but I'm glad that you are doing well. And I mean, what, you're 21 now? Are you? Do you still live with them?
Yeah, I still live with them. There's really no rush to move out, honestly.
Okay. Are you planning on moving out at all?
But yeah, probably in the future.
Okay.
Within the next few years. I love them to death. I have a great relationship with them. My mom, my dad, my sister, and stuff like that.
Wait. So we glossed over. So is there a sibling in this as well?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so your ex-boyfriend's sister.
Yeah.
Okay, so and you consider her your sister.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, and your ex-boyfriend's mom and dad, do you call them mom and dad too?
Yeah. With the tricky situation, I mean, I obviously consider them, my parents and my sister, because I've been with them for so long and they treat me like family, how do I explain this? Yeah, let's just say it. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought.
What are you trying to explain?
I lost my train of thought. I'm so sorry.
What's your relationship like with the sister?
I mean, it's good. It's just sibling. I mean, we live in the same house together. We have a lot of things in common. I don't know.
Okay. Well, listen,
like
Shelby,
having just another person there. She's close to my age, so.
Is there anything else you want to say to the people at the computer before we go?
Shout out to my mom, my dad, and my sister. I love them. And also shout out to Avery and Keel. Avery's honestly my biggest hater. So.
Who's Avery?
Avery is one of my friends that I worked with, and I actually put him onto the podcast, and he really liked it. And I always told him that I was going to get in,
Beautiful. Well, thanks for calling, Shelby.
All right, thank you. It was nice meeting you.
Did anyone else get very strange vibes from that call? Am I crazy, or did anyone else get very, very strange vibes from that call? I do not know what to do with that at all. Because here was the thing, and I wasn't going to bring this up with her, and whatever, because, like, she literally fucking took this man's family. And here was my problem, and I just wasn't going to keep pressing her on it, because whatever, but I tried to ask her what he did, and she wouldn't fucking say what he did. She wouldn't say anything that he did. She just she would say he messed up, this and that. It's so crazy. That was bizarre to me. Okay, she wouldn't say what he did, and then I asked her about, like, and I did try to press her on it, and she said, yeah, when I was 16, I had 3 jobs. What is that? Okay, but that has nothing to do with him. Why are you talking about you having 3 jobs when you're 16? Does that, like, he didn't have enough jobs? What happened? Did I let her go? I really needed to know what happened, but I tried pressing on it, and I feel like I wasn't going to get it. What do you mean? She said he wouldn't pay rent? If you're 16 and you're living with your family, you shouldn't have to pay rent. God, I wish I could talk to the boyfriend. I really do. Hey, listen, if you're this girl's ex-boyfriend and you're hearing this podcast and you're out there, please call in. I am dying to get this story from your perspective, because it's weird. It definitely feels weird to me. I don't know how I would feel if I was that guy, and I fucking don't know. I don't know what this guy did, but also I know this guy's young. I mean, like, the dude's whatever. He was 17 when all this stuff was going on. I don't know. It's super. that we definitely did not have the full story on that. I feel a little bit weird that I don't know if we're ever going to get it, but yeah, that whole thing had weird vibes to me.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello.
How are you?
Is this a Geck?
Yeah, is this
I'm doing okay. Yes, this is Neil.
What's going on with you, Neil?
Just currently in rehab, Geck. How are you?
You're like in rehab right now.
Yeah, like I'm literally about to get my phone taken away because we have like only a little bit of time. We only get our phones for about an hour a day.
Okay, how much more time do you have with your phone?
I got about like 15 minutes.
All right, we can wrap it up within 15 minutes. Why do you only tell me? Okay, so you only get to use your phone for an hour a day.
Yes.
And previous to being in rehab, how often were you on your phone?
All the time. I'm in the military. I don't really do crap, in my opinion.
Okay. And has being on your phone less had a positive impact on you?
It hasn't really changed it. I mean, I'm not in rehab for my phone usage. I'm in rehab for my alcohol.
Okay. And when did you get into rehab?
It was the 11th of this month.
The 11th of this month. Okay, so you've only been there for about 2 weeks.
Yeah, about 15 days.
And how is that going for you?
Yeah, it's, honestly, it's kind of the happiest I've been in about a year.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is it? Tell me how it has become the happiest you've been in a year. That's pretty great.
Well, what I was doing for my job in the military, I hated it. I absolutely couldn't stand it. And I really just, drank every day to forget my problems. And now I feel like that stress of that job's not on me, so I'm feeling a lot better.
Interesting. How much of the alcohol abuse would you credit to the job? Is it like 100%?
No. Drinking was fun. I would say it was to the job is about 60-40.
60-40. Okay, so the job is 60, and then what's the other 40?
Just me having a good time, having fun.
Okay. And I don't know how rehab works. Are you like drinking like a little bit so that you don't go through withdrawal? Like how does it work in there?
Well, I had the withdrawals before going to rehab because I basically got locked in a room and was told to suffer.
Oh, that was the beginning of rehab?
No, that wasn't even at the beginning of the rehab. That was the week prior, or basically the Friday prior of checking in. I had all my withdrawals.
Okay, so would you say you're over them?
Oh, yeah. By far, I'm over the withdrawals. The cravings is the hard part.
Okay, so you're over the withdrawals, but you're still having cravings. How are you having cravings every day?
Well, when I first got here, the cravings lasted about 2 weeks, but now it's every other day or so.
Okay, so there's a positive upward trajectory.
Yes.
That's awesome. What else are you enjoying about the rehab life?
There's also a group of messed up people here with me, so I don't feel like the only one who has a messed up life.
Mm-hmm.
We have people who also have alcohol addiction, opioid addiction, so that's cool. Mm-hmm. And we just sit in this common area. I'm surrounded by a bunch of military people, and we watch crappy TV shows.
So would you say you're having fun?
Some days. Some days it's depressing because you can't leave. We go outside for only 20 minutes at a time.
Mm-hmm. Did you check yourself into rehab, or did other people? I don't know how this works, but did other people check you in, or did you check yourself in?
It was kind of a team effort with me and my command because I was getting forced to regardless because 4th of July I just drank way too much and blacked out and did some crazy stuff.
I gotta say, it's kind of amazing to me that 4th of July, 4th of July, today's July 27th, so that was, oh God, I don't know if my math is right, but that was, it was 23 days ago. So it was about 3 weeks ago, 4th of July, I think. It was 27 minus,
Yes.
all right, it's about 3 weeks ago. Okay, and so 3 weeks ago, you were getting completely, totally fucked up, and then you went through withdrawals, and now you're still having cravings, but it sounds like at the very least, and tell me if I'm wrong, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it sounds like at the very least you are noticing a positive change. You know, you went from crazy withdrawals to cravings every day to now cravings every other day.
Yes, I've been 3 weeks sober on Tuesday or yesterday, so 22 days sober today. So yeah, it's getting a lot better, Geck. I appreciate that.
And that's pretty good. You know, going from getting super fucked up to being able to go 22 days sober.
Yeah, 4th of July, I drank a bottle of tequila, a bottle of sangria, 9 White Claws, and 6 PBRs.
That's a lot of alcohol.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Oh, it sounds like it was a great time. But either way, what else are you doing in rehab that is taking your mind off of the cravings?
There's we have group therapy 3 times a day, so that kind of helps. We have activity therapy where we do stuff like listen to music or play games, Pictionary sometimes. Mm-hmm. We have TV time and homework time. Today they made us watch Inside Out like a bunch of 9-year-olds.
They made you watch Inside Out?
Yes.
Like as a commentary on your brain or something like that?
Yes.
What was the lesson?
I haven't got to that part. I just felt the anger character in that, and I thought I was supposed to connect to him.
What did you connect to about the anger character?
He was angry.
That makes sense. How much longer are you there for?
I'm here for another 2 weeks, basically. I leave August 8th.
And is this all being paid for by the military?
Yes.
That's actually pretty rad. Are you glad that you made the decision to go?
Yes.
Are you optimistic looking towards the future?
I'm nervous. I won't lie to anyone. I'm scared I won't be able to keep my sobriety. It's very challenging. I've had a lot of good moments on alcohol, so that's the hard part.
Let me ask you something. I know that they have therapists and group therapy and all that stuff. And what sorts of things do people tell you in rehab, you know, people in those sort of counselor positions, when you tell them that you're nervous that you might succumb to cravings in the future?
They go, it's just part of the outbound process. It's something you just got to work on. Go to these groups such as AA, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. And has that all been helpful for you, the things that they've told you in response to that?
Kind of, but you know, like I've been using alcohol for 10 years and it's like, am I going to win this battle? Am I going to be able to get to these groups? So still a little nerve-wracking.
In the 10 years that you've been using alcohol, do you think there has been 22 sober? You said you're sober for 23 days, 22 days?
Yes.
Okay. Has there been a 23-day sobriety streak in those 10 years?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I've done multiple deployments where I wasn't allowed to drink.
Let me ask you this. Is there anything, I know that you say you have a lot of good times and, you know, you're trying to have fun and you're also escaping the stress of your job. Is there anything that you can think of that helps you do those things, you know, have fun and escape the stress of your job that is not alcohol?
Yeah, there's a couple. Like, I think of cornhole. I really like to play cornhole. Going to the beach is nice, but they stationed me in Denver, so there's no beaches.
Mm-hmm. Anything else?
No, Geck, but I really appreciate your time, and thank you for taking my call.
Oh, for sure, man. Are you? Are they about to take your phone away?
I only got about 3 minutes. If you have any more questions.
Do you have anything else you want to say to the chat or to the people at the computer?
Hey, Ballas, if you see this, I love you. Lyle, thank you for everything. I appreciate your time.
For sure, man. And listen, I'm rooting for you. I think if you can do 23 days, I think you can do the rest of your life. And you seem like a very down to earth and caring person, at least from what I can hear over the phone. And I have faith in you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Take care, Neil.
Bye, Lyle.
I liked Neil. He had an interesting cadence to him. I liked his description of rehab was interesting. It sounded like it was kind of like camp. It reminded me a lot of what day camp was like when I was a kid. Because we also were not allowed to drink alcohol at the day camp that I went to when I was 9. And we also watched Inside Out. Actually, no, we didn't watch Inside Out, but we watched like whatever Pixar movie was out when I was 9. I'm rooting for Neil. Yellow.
Yo, is this the Geck?
Yeah, is this Josh?
This is indeed Josh. How's it going, man?
It's going good. What's going on with you, Josh?
Dude, I don't know. I just kind of wanted to talk. I don't know if you read the pre-screener, but
I don't even read those anymore. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, really?
I do. But what's going on?
Shit. Okay.
No, I do, but I don't like people knowing that I do. If that makes sense.
Oh, for sure. I get it. You know, you wanna come off like with no preconceptions, right? You know.
Yeah. Well, anyway, what's going on with you, Josh? Let's. We're too meta. Let's get not meta.
All right, understandable. But I guess my whole thing is I was born with a disability, a physical disability. So I've been using a manual wheelchair my entire life.
Interesting. Okay, it says here. I know I just said that to not. Whatever. It says here that you are both optimistic as well as pessimistic about having a disability. Can you explain that to me? What
yeah,
sort of
sure.
dichotomy that you're living in?
For sure. I mean, let's start off with the bad, right? I like starting off with the bad. For me, I think my disability kind of represents it represents me not being able to do as much things as other people. You know, I'm stopped from doing certain physical things, and that's like that's definitely been hard sometimes. You know, and that has definitely affected my mental state. You know, seeing that dichotomy between like able-bodied people and my abilities. You know, and seeing the way people treat me differently as a result of that. You know, that's pretty hard.
What are some of the ways that people treat you differently?
It's a lot, man. I think you'd be surprised. I think from a very young age, I've had people staring at me because, you know, being in a wheelchair is pretty visible, right? So I've always understood that I was different, that I looked different, that I had to be different. People love to offer their help when even like just out of the blue when I'm not asking for it. And to be honest, that kind of pisses me off sometimes. I mean, like I'm just living my life, you know, and they just ask like, "What you doing, bro? Oh, do you need help, man?" I'm like, "Excuse me, did I ask right?" So
right,
yeah. Let me try to think.
No, that's an interesting perspective to hear that you really don't like when people ask you for help.
I think I have no qualms with me personally asking for help, but it's just like people asking for help when I don't prompt it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, I can totally see why.
Or sorry, people asking if I need help, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't really like to talk about the negatives that much.
Well, sure. Okay, let's get into the positives then.
The positives. All right. Let's talk about it. I think recently I've been really realizing that, like, I've had a pretty fundamental view from the world, at least from a very young age. I've kind of always known that life was unfair. You know, that life is kind of inherently unequal to an extent, and that's a hard thing to go through as a young person. Like, I feel like most able-bodied people or most people go through an experience where they realize the world was unfair, right? And this happens fairly early on in their development. But for me, I never really had that experience. It was always like, this is life, you know. It kind of sucks, and that's a strength, you know. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it gives you perspective on what is really important in life, and how do you maximize the outcomes that you're able to come by.
Interesting. So you're happy with the fact that you learned that the world was unfair, or you've known it since the beginning of time, not the beginning of time, since the beginning of your existence, and you didn't have to sort of learn it any sort of hard way later. And it's a perspective that's...
I don't know if I'm happy about that. Yeah, I don't know if I'm happy about that. I think I'm appreciative of it, you know?
Sure.
I don't know if I'm happy. Happy is a strong word.
Mm-hmm. So tell me a little bit more about this. What do you think that this perspective has done for you throughout your life that is positive?
I think that I have a very strong will, and I have my attitude is that of someone who can always push through any barrier, you know. I mean, because in life, I think the ultimate barrier is not society, but rather the physical environment we live in, right? If we are physically impeded by something, right, how do we overcome that? And I think that perspective has given me the strength to fight through a lot of just like societal bullshit and emotional bullshit, because like if I'm able to overcome this physical barrier, right, then what's stopping me from overcoming this emotional or social barrier?
Interesting. So you have a perspective that, you know, okay, I'm in a wheelchair, but I'm able to overcome that. I'm able to live my life despite that. Therefore, I should be able to live my life. You know, if I can live my life despite my physical limitations, I can live my life despite any sort of emotional limitations I might be experiencing or emotional adversity.
Yeah, definitely.
I like that, man. Can you give me? Is there any sort of emotional adversity that you've faced throughout your life that you want to share? Overcoming.
Yeah, I mean, I think, at least with my parents, I mean, I love my parents very much. I think they're wonderful people, and I recognize how much they've done for me. But, you know, growing up in a family where they haven't really experienced disability, right, it's just kind of, they don't really understand what that's like. And so it was just kind of lonely, you know. I always had to fend for myself, at least emotionally. I just didn't feel like I could reach out to anyone. And so recently I've been really trying hard to reach out to other people and just try to share my experiences more, because I think it's a different perspective, and it's a valuable perspective.
Why did you feel like you couldn't reach out to your parents when you were growing up?
My parents I feel like they're very emotionally unavailable. My mom is a typical Asian mom. She's kind of just like distant and doesn't really want to talk about emotions or anything like that. And then my dad is a whole other case where he's like bipolar and he's been through a lot as well. And it's just at least in my instance, it was often suck it up and just deal with it. And that's how I dealt with it. And I mean, that can work, but at some point down the line, you start to break, you start to fracture, and it becomes hard, you know.
What is your relationship like with them now?
I think it's still along that path. I want to have a closer relationship with my parents, but I don't know if they're ready to have that conversation. I've been ready for quite a long time to have that conversation with them, but I think whenever I try to reach out, it's often a denial or a rejection on their part, and that's pretty hard.
Do you feel like you'll ever come to terms with, not having that conversation?
I don't know. I really want to have the conversation, and I want to be closer with my parents. But I think at a certain point, I might have to, if it doesn't look like it's improving, then I might just have to accept that and just look elsewhere.
Who else are you very close with in your life?
I'm really close with my sister. I love my sister. She's great. She's a graphic designer in Portland.
Oh, that's awesome. What's her relationship like with your parents?
It's strained as well. She has a better relationship with my mom, but my dad has said some very hurtful things to her, and that strained the relationship a lot. And so my sister moved out pretty much as soon as she could after she went through college.
And are you moved out too?
No, I'm currently in college, so I'm doing an internship right now, but I usually live at home when I'm out of college or during summers.
Okay, so you're not completely, on your own from your family. You're still in college and you return back home when you're not in college.
Yeah, definitely.
Can I ask what you're studying?
Yeah, I'm studying mechanical engineering.
Okay. What do you want out of life?
What do I want out of life? That is the answer that is the question I've been trying to answer for a while now. And I have a really wide array of interests. I think I really love learning, and I love everything that I come across usually. So I'm still keeping my options open, trying to figure that out, grow a little bit more emotionally. I think I haven't experienced that much, relatively speaking, and I need to figure out what I really want to impart on the world.
So in your sort of day-to-day life, I know you said you were in a wheelchair since you were born, but is there, and I don't, this is why I'm asking this, because in my perspective, I would think that, hold on, I'm going to sneeze. All right. What the fuck was I saying? I would think, from my perspective, if you're, in a wheelchair for 20 years, you would get used to any sort of frustrations that one might encounter on a day-to-day basis, living life in a wheelchair. And I want to know if that is true, or if day-to-day there are still things that are frustrating you about just navigating the world.
That's very insightful. And I think it's true to an extent, but there are things that I'm constantly aware of, and I just know not to expect. I think it's really a matter of expectations. I generally have rock bottom expectations for most things, regarding like accessibility or my access to things. So that I don't get hurt and that I don't ever expect anything, and then I don't get disappointed, right? And I think what I've gotten used to is a lack of care, a lack of access, and so as a result of that, my expectations have been lowered as a defense mechanism to make sure I don't get hurt.
Interesting.
But yes, there's absolutely an element of just getting used to it. But it hurts. It definitely hurts when I see that visible stark difference in the things that I can't do, you know.
You know, this whole thing about low expectations, it's weird. I don't know how to respond to this because I am a fan of low expectations. I myself try to have very low expectations to not get hurt, because I think I don't know what someone, I don't know if there existed a person who had all the perfect answers in the world about how to be a human being. I wonder what they would say about whether or not to have expectations for things, because I feel like, you know, I'm a fan of having low expectations to not set yourself up to get hurt. You know, it's weird because it sounds like a sad thing. You know, I never expect anything as a defense mechanism for not getting hurt. But I feel like, isn't that the moves? Isn't that what you want to do? Not expect anything? I mean, you're over here talking about, you know, the one of the greatest lessons that you have obtained in your life is that life is unfair. And part of life being unfair is that, you know, you accept that as true, and therefore you expect nothing from life. Which, I guess on paper, I guess to many, sounds like a depressing thing, but does it have to be? Like, why is it so great to have expectations? It's great to have desires, you know. It's great to have things that make you happy and want to get out of bed, but expectations, I mean, what the fuck are those doing for anybody, really?
Yeah, I think that's a good point, and I think maybe it comes from the fact that I have pretty sky-high expectations for myself, and maybe I impart that on other people a little bit. So when I guess the thing is that I already have low expectations, and when those low expectations aren't even met, that's when it's hard.
Interesting.
It's when they go below those low expectations.
Again,
like
I wonder
when
what
I do yeah.
No, please go ahead. Please go ahead. I'll sell my thing after.
Okay, yeah. So in my case, I try to make it as easy as possible for other people to accommodate my needs. Right? I believe that it's a dance that we all have to play. Right? This is that society plays and I play. I have to give something, and they have to give something in return. Right? And when I give them all the options to help me out, or to help me access things, and they don't even do that, right? Then that's difficult, right? Because I'm doing everything in my power to accommodate them as well, and they won't do anything on their end to accommodate me.
Yeah. Yeah, it sucks, man. But you know, fuck. I'm really, you know, wrestling with what to think about this here, because, like, what I totally want to say is, and this is why I wonder what the person who, you know, has all the perfect answers on how to be a human being would say. But you can't fucking control what other people do. You just fucking can't. And I think that there's a lot of freedom and happiness in accepting that, and part of accepting that is having low expectations. You mentioned you had high expectations of yourself, which is a different thing, because you can control what it is that you do and how you know, navigate the world. But I think it's okay to feel disappointment, man. But you know, what I like about you know, what I've heard from you so far about how you approach your situation and how you approach the world is that you're not over here, you know, kicking rocks because the world is unfair. You know, you seem like you're not just going to sit there and let the world thrash you around. You're going to do the things that you want to do to make your life better and to be happier. And I think that that's a good way to go about living. But I don't know. I'm not the person who has all the answers as to how to be a perfect human being.
That's an interesting point, and I might disagree with you there a little bit to say that I can't control, or that I should accept that I can't control what other people do, because I mean, I think at least in the instance of disability, there's the legal element, right? There is a moral obligation, or not moral, but rather a legal obligation to accommodate some of my needs, right? And when that isn't met, that's kind of like a sucker punch, right? It's just like, I know this is morally and legally offensive to me, you know?
Yeah, I mean, look, in that situation, if something is, you know, by the way, I'm totally down. By the way, in all instances of every single thing I say on this podcast, I am always extremely down to be wrong. But, yeah, dude, I mean, in that instance where, you know, you go into a place and they don't have the accessibility options that are required by, you know, the law, the question becomes to you, what do you want to do about it? You know, do you want to go and rally the troops and, you know, sue them or start a whole thing? The question is whether or not you want to go do that. And if you do want to go do that, you should do that. But I think that's the thing that you got to ask yourself.
Okay. Interesting. You know, I'm glad, because people don't often say this to me, you know. They usually just say, oh, it's all right, you know, poor you, right? I appreciate you for pushing back. It's really good to hear someone that's willing to think about it a little deeper.
Well, I'm telling you all this because you seem like you're a guy with, you know, despite all of your disabilities and the things that you have going against you, you strike me as a person who has a high internal locus of control. And so I want to feed into that, you know, so you're not a kind of guy that sits around and goes, oh, you know, poor me, blah, blah, blah. You know, you're a man with a high locus of control. And so as a person with a high locus of control, I would get the sense that you look at situations and you go, okay, what can I do about this? And if this is egregious to me and I have it within my power to take action against this thing I find egregious, then I will. But you're always, at least, you know, from what I get from you, thinking about what is the best way for you to move forward and not taking so much time, you know, crying over this is what we started with you already know that things are unfair. You already know that, you know, life is nonlinear. And so you're not going to waste any time crying about it. That's what I like about you, you know? So I'm trying to feed into that.
I appreciate that. I think that describes me perfectly. You know, I tend not to dwell on the things that make me sad, as I phrase it. And thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Well, Josh, is there anything else that I've really enjoyed having this conversation with you? Is there anything else that you feel like we didn't cover that you wanted to talk about today?
Oh, I don't know, man. I mean, I do want to say to anyone out there that, you know, you are never a burden. You are always valuable, you know, that you are always a beautiful person, and to never forget that.
I love it. Shit, was there anything else I was going to say to you, Josh? Oh, yeah. Final thing. What's next for you in the immediate future? I'm curious. We kind of covered your past. We kind of covered where you're at now. What does the future of Josh look like?
Fucking mega bitches. That's what.
Beautiful. Thank you for calling, Josh.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Geck. You're the best.
Daniel?
Yes.
Daniel, it says here that you accidentally created a persona called Basketball Dan, and now your friends won't stop calling you that. and it's became a significant conflict in your life.
Yes.
Tell me more about this.
Yeah, so pretty much I was at my dude's house, and we were playing basketball, and I just happened to be holding the basketball, and then he goes, "Hey, look, it's a basketball ban." And that kind of stuck at that point, which is also kind of my fault because I changed all my social media names to Basketball Dan, so I kind of brought it on myself.
Interesting. So you changed all your social media. You embraced the moniker of Basketball Dan.
I embraced
almost immediately.
And now when I walk in oh yeah, of course. I walk in a bar, people start yelling Basketball Dan.
Mm-hmm. And so let's get into this here because you know, you changed your social media handles to Basketball Dan for a reason. I feel like, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not trying to, you know, tell you who you are, but it sounds to me like at the very beginning of Basketball Dan, you actually enjoyed and found identity in Basketball Dan, and that's why you changed your social media handles to it.
Yeah, now I kind of don't want to go back to being Daniel anymore. Now I feel like I kind of want to stick with Basketball Dan. I don't even play basketball. I don't know how I get away.
So where are we now? Do we like Basketball Dan? Are we sick of Basketball Dan?
I thought I would have gotten sick of Basketball Dan by now, but I think I kind of want to be Basketball Dan now.
Okay. What do you like about being Basketball Dan?
I don't know. People just yell Basketball Dan. I mean, people sing songs and just replace all the words with Basketball Dan. So, you know, it's got its pros. Now, do you think I'm gonna have to learn how to play basketball because I'm basketball?
No, I have different questions for you. I asked you what you like about Basketball Dan, and then you deflected and said people sing songs, but that's not an answer. What do you like about being called Basketball Dan? What do you like about these people that are singing songs? What do you get out of it?
I mean, it has a certain ring to it, Basketball Dan. Don't you think? Better than Daniel.
Okay. It has a ring to it. People sing songs. Still not answers to the question, though. What do you get out of being Basketball Dan? How does it make you feel?
It makes me feel like Basketball Dan, I think. I think that's usually what I get out of it.
Tell me about how you feel about just the name Dan.
Oh, it's not as fun as Basketball Dan. It doesn't seem as energetic.
Okay. Do you consider yourself an energetic guy?
No, but I am when I'm Basketball Dan.
Would you say that Dan and Basketball Dan are two different people?
Kind of, but kind of not.
In what way are they different?
I've always been Basketball Dan. One plays basketball allegedly, and the other one doesn't really care about sports that much.
Okay. Everything that you're telling me about Basketball Dan seems like it's not really even related to basketball.
I don't hate it. No, it's really not. I don't even know how I get away with it.
Okay. So tell me what Basketball Dan is like.
Basketball Dan likes getting drunk, and that's pretty much it.
Okay. So the only difference between Dan and Basketball Dan, from what you're telling me, from the information I've ascertained from you on the phone call right now, is that Dan likes being sober and Basketball Dan likes being drunk.
Well, I think regular Dan likes getting drunk too.
Dan, you understand that we can't. Dan, we can't go anywhere in this. We can't have this phone. We're gonna go in fucking circles here if you don't give me real answers to these questions. I don't know. We don't have time to go in complete and utter circles, Dan. We need to have a through line to.
Isn't that what you do when you're playing basketball, though? I feel like I'm playing the part pretty well.
What is the part?
I don't know, Basketball Dan. That's as far as I got.
That's as far as you got? Okay, let's go further. Don't you want to go further, Basketball Dan? Do we want to stop here? Do we want to call it quits here? Don't you see a farther mountain to figuring out what the fuck Basketball Dan is? We're here right now. Let's figure it out. Don't bullshit me, Dan. Who is Basketball Dan? Don't say he plays basketball. Don't say he gets drunk. Take a second. Don't answer right after I'm done talking. Really fucking think about this. Who is Basketball Dan?
That's a good question. I actually never really thought about it like that. I kind of just took it at face value. I'm Basketball Dan.
Dan?
Yeah.
Who is Basketball Dan?
Who is Basketball Dan? Well, I know he doesn't play basketball. I know that much. I know people call him Basketball Dan. And I think that's pretty much as far as I've gotten. I don't think I'm making it to the playoffs.
I don't think you are either.
Okay.
Thanks for calling, Basketball Dan.
No problem.
What do you guys think of that guy? Do you think, like, who... Okay. There are many different things that guy could have been. He could have been somebody who just wanted to completely make something up to get in and talk. But even then, I don't think that's as shallow as it would seem. Like, what's the underlying reason as to why he wanted to do that? We could go deeper. Okay, there's one. Maybe he just wanted to call in just to talk. Maybe. This is what I would love. This is the one I would like to think. Maybe there is, like, a real drama going on in his life between his two identities of Dan and Basketball Dan, and to shatter the wall between those two would be incredibly painful for him, and so he denies that the wall even exists and refuses to get into it with me because he knows that he'll have to have a painful conversation if we were to truly understand the difference between Dan and Basketball Dan. I don't think that is what is going on there. I have no idea. But no, I don't think he's going to the playoffs. Somebody said, Lyle, you're trying to derive meaning from a puddle in a driveway right now. Not like some sort of crazy poetic meaning, but people do things for reasons. Anything anyone does, you could probably give a reason to. Nobody fucking does anything for no reason. I think everything... You know the phrase, everything happens for a reason? I believe in that. I don't believe in that in some, like, there's like a external force determining why things happen. But things do happen for reasons. Like, why am I talking right now? I mean, we could go very deep into that reason as to why I'm talking into this microphone right now, because we do a podcast. Why do I do a podcast? To do a thing with Earth. Why do I want to do a thing? Because human beings are propelled to progress. Whatever it is, I'm doing things for reasons. Why are people talking in a chat right now? I'm sure if you were wondering why you're talking in chat right now, you're doing it for a reason. And so, whatever the reason is, Basketball Dan did call in for a reason. And he wasn't vulnerable enough to tell me what that reason is. but he had one. And if he's not going to give it to me, I'll sit here and speculate it. All right, I've had enough of basketball, Dan.